Good morning, third grade. Our targets for today are: I can identify area division and equal size group division story problems, and I can solve area division and equal size group division story problems using pictures, graphs, and equations. So let's review what we know about area division story problems. An area division story problem is a problem where you're finding either the length or the width of a rectangular object. The total square units, or the total area, is known. When we draw a picture to represent an area division problem, we draw the rectangular item. We include the total square units and the length and the width of the item. The equation that we would write to solve an area division problem is, of course, a division equation with a dividend, a divisor, and an unknown quotient. You know that when we're trying to solve a division equation, it often is helpful to think about the multiplication equation that is the inverse of it. So, oftentimes, we write a multiplication equation as well. Key words that help us know a problem is an area problem are words like area, inch, foot, wide, long, square, unit, centimeter, tall, and rectangle. Of course, you know it's an area division problem because it's an area problem where you know the total area. Equal-sized group division is a problem where physical items are organized into equal-sized groups. In an equal-sized group division problem, the total number of physical items is known, and you're trying to find either how many items are in each group or how many groups there are. When we draw a picture for an equal-sized group problem, we draw, well, equal-sized groups. We draw the containers as circles and the physical items as dots in the circles. The equation we write to solve an equal-sized group division problem is, no surprise, a division equation with a dividend, a divisor, and an unknown quotient. You know that oftentimes when we're thinking about a division equation, it's helpful to think about the multiplication equation that is the inverse of the division equation. So oftentimes we will write a multiplication equation as well. Key words that will help us identify an equal-sized group problem are words like in each or per, of course some kind of container, and also physical items that are in the container, and often we'll see the word equal as well. So third grade, I want you to think, what is happening in an equal-sized group? So third grade, I want you to think, what is happening in an equal-sized group division story problem? Oh yes, in an equal-sized group division story problem, you are finding either the number of groups or the number of physical items in each group. The total number of physical items is known. What is happening in an area division story problem? I agree. In an area division story problem, you are finding either the length or the width of a rectangular object. The total area is known. What are some key words we would see that would help us identify an equal-sized group division story problem? Oh yes, an equal-sized group division story problem has some kind of candy in some kind of container or group, and we also see words like in each or per, and sometimes even equal. What keywords are in an area division problem? I agree. We might see the actual word area, and we'd certainly see some kind of square unit. We would see long and wide or sometimes tall, and also some kind of length like feet or inches or miles or meters. So third grade, let's put it all together. Let's compare and contrast equal-sized group and area division story problems. How are equal-sized group and area division story problems similar? Well, one way they're similar is that in both equal-sized group division and area division story problems, we know the total amount. The total amount is known. That's really the biggest similarity between equal-sized group division and area division problems, other than, of course, the fact that we divide to solve them both. They're actually quite different from each other. That one reason they're different is because different things are happening in each problem. In an equal-sized group problem, physical items are being put into groups. But in an area division problem, you're talking about a single rectangular item or object, and you are trying to find either the length or the width of it. Another big difference between equal-sized group and division story problems is, of course, that they have different key words. The key words, third grade, are different because what's happening in each problem type is different. So third grade, let's look at an equal-sized group division and an area division problem. And let's go ahead and find the information, figure out what information do we know in each problem and what information are we trying to find out. Let's start with this equal-sized group division problem. Mrs. Logan has 12 students. They will work in 3 teams. How many students will be on each team? What information do we know in this problem? Well, we know that Mrs. Logan has 12 students and that they will work in 3 teams. What information do we need? Well, we need to know how many students will be on each team. So the information we know is that there are 12 students in 3 teams, and the information we're trying to find out is how many students there are per team. Look at this area division problem. Mrs. Allen's office is 56 square feet. If it is 8 feet long, how wide is her office? One piece of information in that problem is that her office is 56 square feet. The other piece of information is that it's 8 feet long. Of course, the question is asking how wide is her office. So the information we know is that the office is 56 total square feet and 8 feet long, and we're trying to figure out how many feet wide the office is. So let's compare and contrast equal size group and area division word problems. What are some similarities you notice between them? Well, I noticed that in both problems we know the total and we also know one factor but are trying to figure out the other factor. The differences, what differences do you notice between equal-sized group and area division word problems? I noticed that equal-sized group problems have physical items in each group, but area problems have an area with a known either length or width. But equal-sized group problems have physical items in groups, but area problems have an area with a known length or width. So 3rd grade, now that we have looked at the similarities and differences between equal-sized group and area division story problems, we're going to look at some story problems and you're going to decide, are these equal-sized group or area problems? Here's the first problem. We're going to do this one together. The cover of Liam's new Dog Man book is 28 square inches. If the cover is 7 inches long, how wide is it? Of course, I'm noticing one piece of information they give me is that the cover is 28 square inches, and I see that that's the total area because it says square inches. So I know that that's my total amount. And I also see that the cover is 7 inches long, so obviously that's the length. The question is asking how wide is it. I'm trying to figure out how wide it is. I also noticed a couple key words. I noticed it says square inches. Now I know right away when we're talking about square inches, we're talking about area. I also see inches long and the word wide. All of these are clues that I'm talking about area. Since I can see that we know the area of this book, it's 28 square inches, and we're trying to figure out how wide it is, I can tell this is clearly an area division story problem. Let's take a look at another problem. Bjorn is going to the chicken coop to collect eggs. He knows that there are 18 eggs to collect and that one child can carry 6 eggs without dropping them. How many kids need to go to the coop? Well, I can see in this fun problem that one piece of information is that there are 18 eggs that need to be collected, and I can see that one kid can carry 6 eggs without dropping them. And I'm trying to figure out how many kids need to go to the coop. Well, let's see here. In this problem, there are eggs, which are a physical item, and I know the total number of them, 18, and there are kids carrying them. And the kids are like the container because they're carrying the eggs. I'm trying to figure out how many kids they need. So if I know there are 18 eggs and one kid can carry 6 at a time, and I want to know how many kids there are and the kids are like the container, then this 3rd grade would clearly be an equal-sized group division story problem. Now 3rd grade, it's going to be your turn. We're going to look at each problem and you're going to decide if it's an equal-sized group or area story problem. Here you go. Yamama made a drawing that was 9 inches long and 72 square inches total. How wide was Yamama's drawing? Is this an equal-sized group or area division story problem? I agree. This is clearly an area division story problem because we know the total square inches and we know a length. We're trying to find a width. Clearly, this is about the area of her paper. Here's your next problem. Jocelyn measured her new blanket and discovered it is 4 feet wide. She knows the total area is 24 square feet. How long must her blanket be? Is this an equal-sized group or area story problem? Oh yes, I agree. This is also an area story problem. It literally says the total area of her blanket is 24 square feet. We're trying to find the length and we know the width, so clearly this is an area division problem. What about this problem? Hayun has decided to organize his 56 books. What about this problem? Hayun has decided to organize his 54 books into 6 boxes. He wants each box to hold the same number of books. How many books should he put into each box? Is this an equal-sized group or area story problem? I agree. Since Hayun is organizing books, which are physical items, into boxes, this is clearly an equal-sized group problem. Here's your last problem. Abigail, Noelle, and Lulu realized they own 12 headbands between them. If each girl has the same number of headbands, how many headbands does each girl have? Is this an equal-sized group or area problem? This one's a little bit tricky because there's only one obvious piece of information, that there are 12 headbands total. But I bet you realized right away that we're not finding the area of anything. We're not talking about the area of any item. So this is clearly not an area problem. You probably then realized that the girls, Abigail, Noelle, and Lulu, are physical items, or that the girls, Abigail, Noelle, and Lulu, are containers because they each own headbands. They're the groups. So this is clearly an equal-sized group problem. Thank you for learning about equal-sized group and area division story problems with me today, 3rd grade. Have a great day!